Brady, go.
Yes, my company international headquarters is in Moscow, and they invited me to attend a team building party at the end of the semi-annual meeting. Well, as the title of my speech would imply, I just signed up for a party. But as it turned out, I didn't see the agenda until several weeks later. And this was no average party. Here's a list of the activities. 1, hiking around a mountainous riverbed, no path. Zip lining over a forest. Climbing up a huge mountain and then rappelling down that same mountain and jumping into a river. Okay, let's face it, look at me. Do I look like the kind of person that would sign up for this if I knew in advance? But I was already committed. The airfare was paid for. I'll be honest with you, I don't even own a backpack, and I have no intention of ever purchasing one. I do own a pair of sneakers, but to this day, if you ask my brother, he won't believe that's true. Now, how we got to this particular campsite was we took a 2-hour plane ride, to then take a 2-hour bus ride, to then get to an area where we're going to be uploaded to these trucks that look like they were lifted from the pages of World War II. There were no steps. So how I got on this truck? My male colleagues just had to pull me. And as they're pulling me, watch out for your head so you don't smack it on the metal. Once I'm on the truck, you better hold on to that metal railing as it's going like this. And there were no paved roads. And this truck could have flipped over at any moment. So my head's banging like this, and my rear end's banging like this, and you're banging it against your back. This took about 45 minutes, and as an added bonus, fumes of carbon monoxide were entering into the cab. And at a certain point, I was just getting so drowsy, but thank God I didn't pass out. So, again, with not reading the agenda until later, I was so concentrated on these activities that I was already thinking how I'm going to get out of it, that I wasn't paying attention to the mandatory items I needed to bring from the USA. First item, bring a light that you can wear on your head, because you had to walk to the outhouse, and it was treacherous enough to walk to the outhouse in the daylight with the cracked rocks, but at night it was a suicidal mission. So I had to borrow somebody else's light. Now let me explain the outhouse itself. The outhouse, it's a onesie, like this. And you must lock the door with a hook because people are walking by like this. Once you lock yourself in, you really need the light. Make sure you don't fall into the big hole that was cut into the wood. I can't even begin to explain what that smelled like. I mean, there are no words. There are no words. They might be tears, but there are no words for that smell. Another thing I neglected to bring. The camp did not supply any toilet paper. So a whole weekend I had to beg for a square. Do you have a square? Can you give me a square? Thank goodness they had squares to spare. Now, the first event was to walk this mountainous trail. And I was prepared to be in the mountains and it might be cooler, so I packed things to keep me warm at night. This happened to be the coolest thing I had because I neglected to bring a bathing suit. So during the hike, our first activity, it was 100 degrees with 100% humidity. And I'm trying to maneuver through this path and I'm walking up mountains and they're pulling me for places I couldn't get to and catching me. I was sweating so much, it looked like I went in the water. But I have to say, I didn't. Until I came to a waterfall and I was so hot. I mean, I couldn't believe it. So I had the chance to douse my head in the water. blushing. And all of my colleagues were applauding me because now I experienced the waters of the Russian mountains. Now, there was another problem with my sneakers. As we're walking through the riverbed in the mud, somehow the rubber from my sneaker was separating from the sole of the sneaker. And if they started to flip, and they're flipping and they're flipping, well, I was just gonna kill myself just walking, so thank goodness somebody had a knife. And then they cut the rubber off my sneakers, so now I even had less traction than anybody else. Well, I'll tell you, after that first activity, I just said, I'm just gonna volunteer to be the photographer. So they agreed to that. And a little bit about the accommodation. I was given a sleeping bag to throw on the ground, and I was sharing this little tent with two colleagues, and I'm in the middle. At night, I could hardly move or else disturb everybody. It was so funny. Now, this is what I was wearing, and unbelievably, mosquitoes got through these pants. I don't know how they did it, but I was bitten every square inch over my entire body, except my face. But I know why they didn't get my face, because I could hear when they come close. I could hear them, so I could shoo them away from my face. But everywhere else, oh no, they got me. So I just want to say, you know, if you get invited to a party, sure, sign up for it. But make sure you read the agenda first. I'm going to bring up for the contest, I wanted to do some, you know, the props kind of thing. So this is my prop. They'll probably beat me.
It's okay, we'll